Right, hello everyone. This is quite a long piece, still not finished it, as with most things. Anyway, this is the origin of parenthesis pickle, called Alan and Death. It was a boring day for Alan Humphreys, a mild-mannered 40-something of central London, though really, to him, every day was boring to some degree or another. A balmy summer's day, a time when Alan could be enjoying himself, and here he was in his office, his chin in his hands, in yet another meeting with Mr. Pickle, whose foul stench flooded the room the minute he stepped foot on Humphreys's carpet. "Morning, Alan," he said cheerily through bent yellow teeth. "Mr. Humphreys, if you will, Pickle." Pickle made a mock sad face, which only served to infuriate Alan more. "Bad day, Mr. Humphreys? It's lovely weather outside, you know." "For your information, Mr. Pickle, I am a very busy man. Now would you please tell me what it is you are here for, or leave?" A smile grew on Pickle's face. "Well, sir," he said, his horrid crooked smile now broad, "I have a marvellous thing to show you." Alan shifted slightly in his chair. His office, a small, cramped space that Alan tried desperately to keep tidy, despite the mass of paperwork he was given, was boiling, and the strict company guidelines didn't help that. He so wished he could take his suit jacket off. Pickle, meanwhile, had produced a box from the corridor outside. It was a grubby, damp cardboard thing that looked like it was barely off falling apart. "You'll love this," Pickle said, sweeping his limp, greasy hair out of his bloodshot eyes. He dumped the box on the desk in front of Alan, before ducking down below him to the floor. Alan peered into the box, but quickly felt a sharp pinch on his hand. "No peeking," Pickle said severely, a mass of piping in his grubby hands. God knows where it's come from, Alan thought, but kept it to himself. Knowing Pickle, he was probably delusional about his personal hygiene, and Alan knew better than to upset the man. "Now then," Pickle said, smiling, "if you'd like to come out from behind your desk." "I'm fine here," Alan growled, sitting tightly. He had seen enough of Pickle, of his futile attempts to get a backing loan for his insane, useless plans. Frankly, all Alan wanted to do right now was to go home, sit out in the garden and enjoy a nice book. He looked up at the clock on the wall. Not long now. 20 minutes. He might even be able to slip off 5 minutes early, if only Pickle would finish. "Ah," Pickle said, smiling, "but Mr. Humphreys, you won't be able to witness my new invention from behind there." Alan sighed and moved round the desk. "I really don't think this is a good thing, Mr. Pickle," he said, not looking at the piping on the floor. "How many inventions have you shown me in the past year?" 55, sir," Pickle said, his eyes occasionally darting to the floor. 55 on September the 15th. "And how many of these have—" "Oh my God!" Alan nearly fell over with shock, having just looked at the floor. The box, now opened, was crowded with at least a dozen filthy balls of fur. "What the dirty kittens!" Pickle said excitedly, nearly leaping with joy at Alan's surprise. "I knew you'd like it, I knew it." "Kittens?" Alan nearly shouted. "What the hell have kittens got to do with loans?" "Ah, but Mr. Humphreys," Pickle said, lifting up the metal box that was roughly attached to the piping with layers of duct tape, "you've seen nothing yet." Pickle pressed a button on the box, which emitted a giant, thundering, whirring noise. Alan instinctively put his hands to his ears and saw Pickle laugh almost maniacally. A huge gust of air, more powerful than a vacuum cleaner, flew at the kittens, pushing them against the far side of the box. Alan could see their scrunched-up faces and faintly hear, over the noise and his hands drowning out the sound, faint mewling. After about 20 seconds of watching the kittens' fur fly around crazily over their tiny bodies, Pickle pressed the button once more and beamed. "Done," he announced to a slightly shell-shocked Alan. "Done?" he muttered. "What have you done?" "The Kit Vac 5000, Pickle said proudly, patting the piping that snaked over Alan's carpet. "This baby is going to make me rich." "And what, pray tell, does it actually do?" Pickle looked from Alan to the cats in the box, who were meowing faintly, in a dreamy kind of way. "Can't you see?" "Not clearly, no," Alan said, scribbling on the form. This was yet another waste of time. "It cleans them," Pickle said, picking up one of the cats by the scruff of its neck. It mewed slightly, swinging around in the air. "Look at it," Pickle cried, thrusting the fur ball in his face. "Look at its cleanliness." "Yes, very clean," Alan cried, pushing away the scrabbling, though admittedly clean cat. But I don't think that people will buy it. Pickles stared at him with a slight hint of shock. Not buy it? Alan refrained from the urge to scream at the stupid man. He had to do this routine every time, break it to him. Pickle was oblivious to his blatant disregard to market research. The machine, the KitVac 5000, Pickle said, his pride swelling. The 5th prototype. Yes, Alan said. Did you ask what they thought about it before you started off down here? Pickle thought for a moment. Well, I asked Jim from next door. He seemed impressed enough. Does Jim own a cat? No. Does Jim care for animals? Is he supportive of, say, the RSPCA? I don't think so. Alan sighed, leaning forward in his chair. Pickle, you have to look at the bigger picture here. How would, say, Rolf Harris look at this invention? What about David Attenborough? Pickle's face lit up. They're inventors, aren't they? Are you saying my invention's worthy of them? Alan resisted the urge to punch Pickle in the face. Presenters, Pickle, not inventors. They like animals. I'm saying that your invention is obviously cruel and probably wouldn't pass product testing at all. Pickle's face fell. Does this mean... Yes, it does. Goodbye. Pickle stood up, shoving the still squirming cat back into the box, and grabbed his blasted invention. He took one last look at Alan, a look that he had learnt to ignore. It was Pickle's look of sadness, his final desperate bid for financial backing. Close the door on your way out, please, Alan said, not looking up from his paperwork.